The Hammer Strikes opens on Fort McNeil in Florida. I think. According to Fort Wiki, a wiki dedicated entirely to forts for probably all, like, one of you fort enthusiasts out there watching this video right now, Fort McNeil was an actual fort in Florida named after this guy. It's the best picture that I could find of him. Like, they only had, like, what, 2.3 megapixel cameras back in the 1800s or something? Either way, the fort was used in 1837, and only 1837. It was abandoned the same year. And now Guile and Sawada are tearing the place down with an intense fight, and we're not really told why they're fighting, or how Blanka's seemingly sleeping through all of this.
Sonic Boom!
They're both going all out, though, with zero regard for property damage. Aircraft is destroyed, Sawada cuts a tank in half, stacks of barrels. Together they level an entire building.
Sonic Boom!
And who should step in to put an end to all this?
This is supposed to be a training exercise. A chance to blow off steam and clear the air between you two. Not an opportunity to renew old hostilities.
Oh yeah! T-Hawk! This second season is off to an incredible start, but like, I can't shake the feeling that something might feel just a little off.
You haven't got a street fighting chance, Sawada.
That's Colonel Sawada to you, Guile. Or perhaps you've forgotten I took over your command at AN.
I haven't forgotten, you won't let me!
It's a little less obvious with Guile, but doesn't it feel like everybody's talking really quickly?
Have you had enough?
Quitting isn't in my dictionary, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, that's because everybody's talking really quickly. Spoilers. This is the episode that has that ridiculous clip of Dhalsim talking about his ascension and enlightenment through metaphysics while disarming a bomb. It's in like every silly Street Fighter cartoon compilation.
Fortunately, I have advanced beyond such simple-minded perceptions and embraced the limitless enlightenment of metaphysics.
It's weird that it actually seems to make more sense out of context than in. Because, like, you could just easily assume that Sim's speaking extremely quickly because he's busy trying to disarm a friggin' bomb, but no. That's just how the whole episode is. All 20 minutes of it. It's like they accidentally created an extra minute or two of cartoon, and rather than cutting something out, they thought they could just put it into a slight fast forward to squeeze it all in and no one would notice. It's really noticeable. Like, the Street Fighter cartoon has bad enough animation as it is. Just putting it into a fast forward does not do it any favors at all. And it's worth noting that the soundtrack and the sound effects, those are moving at regular speed. Those sound normal. It's just the dialogue. It's just the animation. So, hey, there's that. So yeah, I just want you to keep that in mind as we continue forward, that this entire episode is literally in fast forward. After T-Hawk breaks up the sparring session, just holy crap. That was supposed to be a sparring session Guile and Sawada were having? Like, I get you're at a fort that was abandoned 150 years ago, but for fuck's sake, lads. Did you guys really have to level the building? Cut to Blanka having a bit of a freak out because apparently Dhalsim's using some sort of projection, forcing visions and thoughts in Blanka's head, but it's manifesting physically as like a psychic assault on Blanka's mind.
Curse him! Why is he torturing me this way?
You sure it's him?
Yes, I see him. And I also see the Satin Hammer. Satin Hammer?
The message has something to do with Dhalsim and Satin Hammer in the Himalayas. Obviously Guile and Blanka are going, but then Sawada decides he's going to invite himself in the most Sawada way possible.
Fight it.
I'm making it my business. Official AN business.
Pulling rank against Sawada?
Colonel Sawada.
And then T-Hawk decides he's coming too because someone breathed the name Satin Hammer in his presence. And at this point, Guile's all,
Just get in the plane.
and then reveals a pretty cool little bit of character development for T-Hawk. Between seasons, he's actually rejoined with Street Fighter. Pretty cool to have T-Hawk back on the team again. And away our party goes. Christ, imagine being stuck on a 7-hour flight with these assholes. Known mass murderer T-Hawk. Sawada with his head permanently up his own ass. A visibly distressed Blanka that could fly into a fit of electric rage at any second and destroy the plane. And then you got Sonic Boom Everything Guile over there on the friggin' controls. Fucking kill me. They reach Dhalsim's temple, but find it in pretty rough shape, like it's been recently attacked. Sim appears and then gives Blanka the best non-apology ever.
I regret the crude manner in which you were summoned. Unfortunately, your psychic senses have been dulled by the world of materialism. I'm sorry you were not more receptive to the summons.
Sorry you're not better at receiving psychic waves, Blanka. Maybe if you weren't doing so much Netscape navigating and playing on your 3DO, you'd have a better connection to the mystical world. Anyways, what the hell's going on here?
Thermonuclear warhead.
I knew it! I knew I'd find it here!
The government was going to detonate the bomb on sacred ground not far from here. My people were at risk. I was forced to act. This is why we were attacked. Why I sent for you street fighters to help defend it from the Satin Hammer. Her men failed the first time, but they will be back.
Wow. Okay. That's some pretty heavies. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of heavy stuff there. Maybe let's try and summarize this concisely just so we can, make sure we understand what's happening here. So the AN were going to test a nuclear bomb in the Himalayas, just like near the sacred land of Dhalsim's people. So naturally Sim stole the warhead because he doesn't want his people to, So Sim stole the warhead. But in doing so, he made himself a target of the Satin Hammer, because Satin Hammer is all like, yeah, I want a nuke too, I guess. So now she's after Sim and the warhead. And that's where we are right now. Whew. And then T-Hawk tries to interject, being Native American and all, and maybe knowing a thing or two about nations taking advantage of and encroaching on the land of local peoples.
So, you admit the crime?
It would be a crime if he stood by and did nothing. I know how it feels to lose it all. Your people, your ancestral home.
Sawada's having none of it, though. Keep in mind, Sawada is Japanese, and old enough that he probably has parents, or at the very least grandparents, that would have been directly affected in some way by nuclear weapons. If anyone was going to sympathize with Dhalsim's dilemma the most, it would have been Sawada. But I guess really it just kind of shows how much of a straight-laced stickler for the rules Sawada is, so... Either way, before anything can really resolve, Satin Hammer attacks. It looks like the Street Fighters have the early upper hand and set to clear house, but there was just too many of Hammer's goons keeping our motley crew busy, and they get away with the bomb. Blanka has a particularly awesome moment where he goes Blanka balling into a group of exosuited soldiers, and to convey the power of Blanka's attack, they literally transform the art style of Satin's goons to make them look like bowling pins as he goes crashing into them. It's amazing.
Block him, fools! Keep the beast at bay!
I do feel like they kind of missed out on the opportunity to just really go ham with it if they just would have added the sound effect.
Block him, fools! Keep the beast at bay!
Something about Satin Hammer feels a little off in this episode too. It could be the fast forwarding of the episode or something, but I thought it might have been that there was a different voice actress for her in the second season. Unfortunately, there's not really enough information on this cartoon out there, and it looks like Satin Hammer's only voice actress was Linda Boyd. Her voice isn't as deep, and she's a lot more shouty, and holy friggin' shit is she suddenly thirsty for T-Hawk. Like sex jazz music playing during her dialogue levels of thirst.
Still, under the right circumstances, I'd welcome you back with open arms. After all, I haven't forgotten how good we were together. Have you?
Not that I blame her. I mean, just look at him. Just look at him. Are you looking?
I'm not like the other Street Fighters.
He's not like the other Street Fighters. He's a goddamn 10, condor diving among a sea of sevens on their best day. They fail to retrieve the bomb. Guile and T-Hawk go flying off of Hammer's aircraft, and Guile comments,
We're up way too high. You know you really can't fly.
wait, what?
We're up way too high. You know you really can't fly.
But last season he...
Satin Hammer, it's over.
He could fly last season, he could fly last season just fine.
You know you really can't fly.
He could fly last season. Don't you tell me that T-Hawk can't fly. I saw it. I got the receipts. I know that T-Hawk can fly. He did it in that episode. He literally flew.
You know you really can't fly.
Whatever. So Satin Hammer wants to bomb Livermore Labs in Livermore, California, making this the second episode of Street Fighter about annihilating the West Coast. Big fan. Why Livermore Labs? Well, a flashback reveals that they're responsible for the state of Satin Hammer. She was a genius in the field of robotics, but her body was dying of some unknown illness. So they built her an android body so she could keep on living, and then...
All they really wanted was my work, my secrets, not me. Once they had what they wanted, they cut my funding, left me like this.
They saved her life, they gave her a sick android body, they cut her funding, question mark, question mark, question mark, nukes? Like, it sure is supposed to be a tragic backstory, but it's not clear enough to be good. It ends with her whining about her funding being cut and being left as an android, but like she established earlier that being an android seems to be the only thing keeping her alive, so just... not a big fan. But yeah, back on track. Satin Hammer's escape with the nuclear warhead underwater. Thankfully, the Street Fighters cut her off at the pass before she can reach California. Blanka dives underwater and disables the craft with a severe electric shock. Satin Hammer, now sitting dead in the water and caught off guard, the Street Fighters can finally end this for good. Of course, T-Hawk has to go and fuck it up, though. He decides to go in alone, thinking he can talk some sense into Hammer and get shot for his efforts.
You shot me.
T-Hawk, I love you. For fuck's sake. As backup arrives, Satin Hammer activates the nuke and uses the distraction to escape. Then we get literally the exact same ending as Darkheart. Only Dhalsim can save the day, but he doesn't want to do it because that would mean doing science, until everyone's like, okay, but do it though. And then he does the thing, which of course gives us...
Fortunately, I have advanced beyond such simple-minded perceptions and embraced the limitless enlightenment of metaphysics.
The day is saved. Dhalsim and Blanka have a brief moment of contemplation over the natures of their respective existences and the choices they've made in their lives. It's actually a pretty cool little moment of understanding between the two of them. And then we're back on the plane and on our way back to ANHQ or Street Fighter Base or whatever. And T-Hawk still can't believe that Satin Hammer shot him.
She shot me. I can't believe she shot me.
Tried to blow you up with an A-bomb, too. So, you over her yet?
Now, I know I don't usually do, like, these wrap-ups or final thoughts in these Street Fighter episodes, but this episode, I feel like it really needs one. The Hammer Strikes packs a lot into one episode. A lot more than we're used to in a typical episode of the Street Fighter cartoon. Probably too much. Whenever there's a large group of Street Fighters in an episode, at least a few of them tend to take a back seat while the main characters enjoy most of the conflict. This is mostly the role that characters like Ken, Ryu, and E Honda fill. But here, everyone's front and center with something at stake and a lot of conflict with not just the main villain of the episode, Satin Hammer, but also each other. Guile and Sawada continue their conflict of ideals regarding the rules. Dhalsim and Blanka continue to have unresolved issues regarding Sim literally making Blanka into the monster he's become. Sawada and Dhalsim meet for the first time and conflict immediately over the morality of nuclear testing. Guile and T-Hawk conflict over Hawk's conflicted feelings regarding Satin Hammer, and of course, the conflict between T-Hawk and Satin Hammer over their feelings for one another, despite T-Hawk being revealed as an undercover agent the last time they were together. And on top of all that, they dump Satin Hammer's tragic backstory on us too. All of this in a single 20-minute episode. Just, wow. How is the Hammer Strikes not like a two-parter episode? Because it really should have been a two-parter. It's actually kind of hilarious to think that there's so much going on and they had so little time they literally ran the episode in fast forward just to cram in an extra minute. I appreciate the amount of writing that went into this episode because it really did flesh out a lot of these characters and made the interactions between them a lot more interesting. But in this case, it did come at the expense of the episode itself. Like, I hope Season 2 has a lot more of this writing, just spaced out a little bit more, given time to breathe. Now, with all that said, next time on Street Fighter.
Oh, we're going back to merry old England! Pip, pip, and cheerio, it's Cammy and the Bachelor!
We await your return, warrior.